1. Will the Warriors trade Jonathan Kuminga this season? 2. Why Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors is uncertain. 1. Will the Warriors trade Jonathan Kuminga this season? The idea that the Warriors might trade Jonathan Kuminga during the current season presents a fascinating possibility. At the start of the offseason, I held an unusual perspective regarding the Golden State Warriors and their restricted free agent, Jonathan Kuminga. Instead of pursuing the increasingly likely sign-and-trade deal for this gifted forward, I suggested that the Warriors should re-sign Kuminga and then consider trading him at the 2026 trade deadline. My rationale was straightforward, although it might have had its shortcomings. During the 2024-25 season, Kuminga had moments where he looked like a future star. After Steph Curry got injured during the Western Conference semifinals, Kuminga played exceptionally well together with Jimmy Butler III, providing some evidence that perhaps Steve Kerr's uncertainties about that duo were not entirely justified. My perspective was that it would be beneficial for Kuminga and the revamped team to have a full preseason to smooth out any issues and explore their potential. If the experiment did not succeed, it was unlikely that Kuminga's trade value in February would be significantly lower than in July. However, following a quiet and somewhat uneventful start to free agency for both Kuminga and his team, I'm now leaning towards that earlier idea, albeit with new motivations. The NBA landscape has undergone a significant shift this year. Trade activity soared not just during the offseason but also at the deadline, and these moves involve more than just temporary fixes. Off-season examples include Jimmy Butler moving to the Bay Area and high-profile players like Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis switching teams. Compare that with the previous summer, where notable trades like Kevin Durant's involved only because of a breakdown in agreeing on a trade at the deadline. Clearly, significant trades are now more common at the deadline, with many teams preferring to observe their current configurations and see how they perform early in the season. When such strategies inevitably fall short for some teams, they are prepared to pivot by February. Furthermore, Kuminga's base year compensation presents additional complexities. In a possible sign-and-trade, Golden State would only be allowed to take back half the salary they send out, limiting both their potential returns and the number of interested teams. Given that Kuminga's market seems to be dwindling, despite a reported interest from the Suns, it increasingly appears that re-signing Kuminga, monitoring how things unfold, and potentially trading him in February, if there are ongoing disagreements, could turn out to be the most prudent strategy. While this approach might lack the thrilling elements of the offseason, it could maximize value. What's your thought? Should the Warriors take a cautious approach with Kuminga or go for broke with a trade now? Share your opinions and let's discuss. 2. Why Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors is uncertain. Imagine being so talented that every team wants you, yet none can afford you. That's the paradox facing Jonathan Kuminga, the restricted free agent whose market is surprisingly tepid. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite Kuminga's potential, the Phoenix Suns, a team rumored to be interested in trading for him, may not have the right assets to satisfy the Golden State Warriors. As reported by Jake Fisher in an article published Thursday, the Suns' exploratory interest might be more about window shopping than a serious bid. Why is Kuminga's situation so unique? Well, traditionally, restricted free agents like Kuminga would have multiple teams vying for them with offer sheets. But this year, teams are hesitant to even try. Instead, they're hoping to trade for him, shuffling their already tight payrolls. The only other team linked to Kuminga, the Kings, has already been rejected by the Warriors. But why the sudden shift in the free agency landscape? The answer lies in the league's new collective bargaining agreement, which has made teams think twice before entering the salary tax apron. This means that even a player like Kuminga, who showed promise early on and stepped up in the playoffs, might not be worth the risk for many teams. The Warriors themselves are part of the problem. They're unwilling to meet Kuminga's salary demands, which could be as high as $25 million annually. This reluctance is not just about Kuminga, it's about their ability to sign other key players, such as Al Horford and D'Anthony Melton, who could significantly bolster their roster. So, what's the solution? For now, it seems the Warriors are looking for a trade that satisfies both Kuminga and his suitors. But as the waiting game continues, one has to wonder if this strategy will pay off, or if the Warriors will be left with a player they can't afford and a roster that remains unchanged. And this is the part most people miss. The real question isn't just about Kuminga's value, but about the changing dynamics of free agency in the NBA. What do you think? Is Kuminga being undervalued by teams, or are they smart to hold back? Share your thoughts in the comments.